everyone, and welcome down to episode 181 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia. And I'm solo again this week because our good friend from the other side of Bass Strait is back in Scotland, still in Scotland, enjoying his second tour that he's doing over there with some legends that went over and joined him in Scotland for his tour. Makes no sense. You know what I mean? I'm just fresh back from the Bright Festival of Photography. Now, sometimes, some weeks we do bang on a fair bit about Bright Festival of Photography, also known as BFOP. But having just got back and having it all fresh in my mind, I can tell you a wonderful, wonderful weekend was had by all. It was a brilliant weekend, and I'll delve into that in a sec. But this week's episode is going to be Mr. Blake, Mr. Cameron Blake, that is, in the field in Scotland. How awesome. So he's going to walk us through some shots that he did. Actually, he's going to be in the Peak District of England, so not Scotland at all, but, you know, he's very close by. So he popped down to the Peak District and did a little workshop for us, which you all get to live through, which is fantastic. So I really do appreciate Cam taking the time to put this little workshop together, little workshop video together for you. And we'll get into that very, very soon. But yes, the Bright Festival of Photography was absolutely mega. I would actually go so far as to say the best ever. Just the range of workshops on offer, what goes on in that hall for basically 3 days straight was absolutely fantastic. So if you have not been to BFOP before, tickets go on sale, I think, as I speak. I think they actually go on sale now. So this came out on the Friday night. So you should be able to jump onto beautfulaustralia.com. I'll link that below, of course. That's beautfulaustralia.com to secure your ticket for the Bright Festival of Photography next year. What did I love about it? I love the enthusiasm that people bring to BFOP. It's absolutely phenomenal. We have people from all walks of life, all ages, all levels of photography, most importantly, having a great time. I was very, very fortunate to be involved once again on the Big Bad Bus Trip this year with my good friend Charlie Brown, who we interviewed on the show a couple of weeks ago. Charlie and I basically helmed the bus, for want of a better word, to take people up into the high country. We start at Mount Beauty, we go to Lake Guy at Mount Bogong, and then over to Fainter Creek at at Bogong Village, and then we head up to Hotham via Harrietville. So absolutely fantastic. The conditions could not have been better. Given the forecast that we were given for the district during the Bright Festival of Photography, it was absolutely amazing. We had basically 3 days. Well, Charlie and I had 4 days of amazing weather. It couldn't have been better. In fact, so much so that the minute the festival wrapped up on Sunday, literally as they locked the door to the hall, a big thunderstorm came and a heap of rain came. So it was uncanny, the timing. So someone was looking after us, I guess. But the big bus trip was absolutely brilliant on both days. So Charlie and I run that bus trip actually on BFOP day -1. We do it on the Thursday, and we do it on the Friday as well. For those of you that were on the Thursday bus with me and Charlie, I'm sure you'll agree, it was fantastic. And I think it's a bit of a hack at BFOP because you get to do the Big Bad Bus Trip, and then BFOP starts the next day. So it's pretty cool that you don't miss anything of BFOP, and you do get that extra day's workshop. That's not to say the Friday bus was no good. The Friday bus was just as good. The conditions were very, very good up at Hotham as well. So lots of great photos taken, lots of fantastic questions being asked as well. And I think that's one thing I love about BFOP. People aren't too precious. They're not too ashamed to ask questions for fear of looking silly. No, there's no such thing as a dumb question at BFOP. And I love that. And all the instructors, I think, that was the feedback that I was getting, that all the instructors just embraced all levels of photography and helped out from absolute beginners right through to total experts. So then on the Saturday, I was lucky enough to run my own workshop for 20 people back out at Fainter Creek. And that was an absolute joy. It's the first time I've ever run a workshop on my own for that number of people. But once again, the questions were great. The camaraderie was fantastic. It was about an hour drive out to that location. So that was a bit of fun. but most people got there, no worries. Took some fantastic photos from what I saw. People are sending me photos, have been sending me photos all week who were on that workshop. So pretty stoked to be able to do that. Then on the Sunday, I gave a presentation up on the main stage. So that was pretty cool. That was something outside my comfort zone as well. So Bright Festival of Photography 2026 tickets go on sale now. One fun little story from BFOP this year. Well, you wouldn't call it fun. It was a little bit stressful, actually. We had a person that failed to check back in when they got back from my workshop on Saturday night. So the alarm wasn't raised until about 11 o'clock that this person hadn't checked back in. And this person, look, let's just say they weren't the youngest person at BFOP by any stretch of the imagination, and they were driving themselves back from my workshop. So a few phone calls here and there, a very upset friend that was expecting this person to check in, so much so that I got to the point where I was literally back in the van to drive back out to the location at 11:30 at night. A bit worried about what I might find, mind you, but the boys from BFOP had already raised the alarm with the police, and luckily that person showed up at BFOP HQ. So all's well that ends well there. But just a little bit of advice for people that are doing workshops next year where they're self-drive, just to make sure that you check back in with your friends and family and things like that, particularly if you've headed off on your own. So little tale to tell there for you. So anyway, as I say, all's well that ends well, and it was great. And I know for a fact that person got some fantastic photos while they were out on that tour. So I do really appreciate that they got back safe and sound. So my photo of the week is that one right there. So that was the group from the second bus trip, was on the Friday. That's myself and Charlie in the front there, and a lovely group of 40 people that joined us. I think there's only about 38 in that photo. A couple of people didn't quite make it into that shot. They were off too busy taking photos down by the lake there. But as you can see, a pretty cool spot. We've got that lovely Let's Lake guy in the background there. And if you can see yourself in there, hit me up below, say hi. We'd love to have you as a subscriber to the Down South Photo Show. So we'll go back here. Speaking of beer donations, so BFOP beer donators, Mel C, Jenny H, David M, Simon M, Tim, Les, Erin, Charlie B, Felicity, and Matt A. Yes, every one of those people bought me a beer at BFOP, and I'm very, very grateful. Excuse me. I was also a little bit dusty on the Sunday as well, so thanks for those people who thought I looked a bit thirsty during Bright. So I do really appreciate that you guys found me in the crowd, and also got one of our Down South Photo Show stubby holders and put that to good use as well. So that was pretty cool. One last bit of homework before I hand over to Cam in the Peak District. I just wanted to give a quick plug for our 2026 Down South Photo Show workshops, which are the ones that Cam and I run together. Not to be confused with the ones that Cam runs on his own, and not to be confused with the ones I run on my own, but we're talking about the Down South Photo Show joint workshops. Kangaroo Island next year, as we all know, is already sold out, but that will run again in 2027. We do have the Great Ocean Road next year, which has a couple of spots left. We also have our Tarkine to Cradle Mountain in Tasmania next year, and of course our Freycinet Bay of Fires in Tasmania next year. All our workshops are selling, so just bear that in mind. Get in quick. Head to dsps.com.au. There's the website. There, dsps.com.au. Jump on the website. Check out the workshops. Also, we are ready now to receive more people's photos for critiques. So if you would like us to critique one of your images, you can email us, and I'll put the email address in the link below as well. So that's it from me. I'll shut up now. I'm going to hand you over to Cam. If you are listening to the podcast this week, it's another one of those ones where I do recommend you jump on the YouTube channel and check it out, because the visuals that Cam's about to give you are pretty cool. He got some great photos while he was in this one particular area of the Peak District in the UK. I think that's about it from me. I will sign off for now, and we look forward to seeing you for episode 182 probably next week, maybe next week. We'll see how we go. But that's it from me. Here's Cam. Bye.
Good morning. Welcome down to a new episode of the Down South Photo Show with me, your solo host, Cam Blake. Not calling you from Hobart, Tasmania, Australia, but from the UK of England at a beautiful place called Padley Gorge, which is about 30 minutes out of Sheffield, and we're here on some beautiful foggy morning conditions as we wanted. So I thought I'd take you for a bit of a walk, show you around this little region where we are, see if we can get some shots set up, talk you how I go through my shots, and show you a bit of this area. It's beautiful. So this area is, like I said, about 30 minutes out of Sheffield in the UK. It's a pretty popular spot. I've already seen quite a few photographers already rock up with tripods already. But it's a beautiful spot. This is perfect conditions. I came here the other day on the recommendation of a good friend of the show, Cheryl. So this is definitely a place you want to come and take some photos at. But it wasn't the greatest conditions the other day. It was too bright. But today is perfect, and I'll just spin you around and I'll show you what we've got here. It's just perfect. Beautiful old oak trees. And we've got a beautiful little brook running down the side of it as well. This place is known for its millstones, which I'm looking for. There's should be a couple of shots of millstones going on around here, but there's already shots everywhere I can see. So yeah, I thought I'd take you for a bit of a wander, walk you through how I do my shots, what I'm looking for, things like that, and I'll set up a couple of shots and show you what I do, and hopefully give you something out of it. Alright, so I've found a shot already that I like. I haven't walked very far from the car, so this place is beautiful. Got some birds chirping. The conditions are just magic. The fog is in this little gorge here really nicely, but the first shot I found is, I really love this beautiful oak tree. It's a big one. Got some very big branches stretching out here and over there as well, but I do also like this little bridge over here. So what I've done, I've just set up a composition that looks a little bit like that, which I'll give a better view on the screen when we get some photos up. So what I'm liking is got my little bridge going through here, through there. I got this beautiful oak tree there as well. And yeah, we've got some nice little bits of depth out the back here. But what I really like is these big branches swing over there. So I've got my camera set up. What have we got on? We've got ISO 200. I've got to focus. ISO 200. I've got F11 because I want a bit of depth of field going on here. I want some depths from this sort of area, these little roots and stuff in the foreground to stretch out to the back there as well. So getting a little bit of depth. I've got the camera tripod set up like so. Sort of about normal height. I've got my big polarizer on. So the polarizer's on for the benefit of all these leaves and bits of trunk that are getting a little bit of light on the side. Also the river down there getting a bit of light reflecting. I'm just trying to take a little bit of that out. I might even actually move my tripod just around a bit further. Maybe somewhere like that. Just see if I can get those branches out a bit more. I do lose a bit of the bridge when I come over here though. So I'm not sure if that's something I want to do. I want to keep that bridge in that little brook. So it might be a matter of just moving back over here again, where I can really open up the angle and get that nice little arch of the bridge happening there. So, get this all set up. Get it nice and straight. Make sure our tripod's nice and level as much as we can. Something else you'll find as well when you're shooting in these kind of conditions is the fog plays a bit of a part with the composition and the exposure. So you really want to just try and get that exposure right on these shots. So exposure is a key one when you're shooting in fog, especially the fog is already starting to lift a bit. But I usually try and overexpose a little bit in these scenes just to bring the shadows up and the details in the foreground. But also, you don't want to, it doesn't matter if this sort of blows out a bit in the sky. I'm not too fussed about that, but what we do want is the lovely detail in this foreground here with the fog. And we don't want to lose, we don't have these trunks too dark, we don't want to lose too much detail. So I generally overexpose a little bit, or leave it at even exposure as opposed to underexposing like I'd normally do. So yeah, I'm shooting at f11, ISO 200 here. It's giving me about a 6-second exposure. And what I'll do is, once that photo's taken, which is doing its thing now, we'll chuck that on the screen for you guys to have a look at after it's been edited. G'day. How you going? Got a few friends here today, but got some pretty mooey ones. Cows just wandering through the forest, which is pretty cool. This is a nice shot here as well. Must be a tree leading up to the top there. It's really nice. What a beautiful spot. I'm just working on a little composition here, which is going to be these trees here with this this sort of stuff out in the background here. Doing it as a portrait style shot, which is going to be nice. So yeah, figure this is a portrait. What I like to try and do is when I've got some long branches or taller branches up there, I like to try and do portraits with a 14mm lens. I'm doing the portrait of this tree and still getting some of this out the back here. Just looking out for a couple other photographers in my shots, but once they get out of there, I'll probably do a wide angle one as well, just a bit of both. Same again, one of the things about shooting in forests is that once you get your exposure set up, like I'm still at f11, ISO 200 here, I'm shooting on aperture priority. It doesn't really worry me. I don't really have to change too much because the light's not going to change much here at all for the next hour, I reckon. So I can pretty happily say that I can just shoot the same exposure. So it makes it easy. You just set up and find your compositions and shoot your compositions nice and easily. So I'm going to do this one now. I think they're still in it. If I look through my viewfinder, I can still see, but what I've got, I've actually got this beautiful, lovely little root running through the front of my frame, which you might be able to see here. It's a bit hard to see, but I've got this running through there. And see how I go. So these guys are out of my shot now, so I'm also using a bit more of a warmer temperature in here just to help with the autumn colours, but I might just tone that down a little bit. That's a bit better. So I'm shooting now at 5500 kelvins, which is about daylight, which is pretty much your auto white balance in a way. So this one looks pretty good. I'm going to take a shot of this one. Those other people have wandered out the way. Yeah, we'll play that back. It's probably shot a bit too bright on your screen there, but looks pretty good to me. It's a nice one. So yeah, so now I've got my exposure set up. I'm shooting even exposure. I'm not underexposing or overexposing. There is a little bit of blowing out in the background here, but I'm not worried about that because what it does, it gives you that sort of background glow of the shots that you're looking for. So I find by doing that, it makes it still makes it look nice, got that sort of background glow. And then I can sort of warm that glow up or cool that glow down a bit depending on what sort of feel I'm going for. The sort of colour feel in here at the moment is, it's not cold, it's not one of those cold forests. it's got some orange and yellows here for the autumn colours, so it's a little bit, it's got a bit of warmth to it, so I'll probably end up warming it up a little bit just to see how that goes. But yeah, it's a beautiful spot. Yeah, I've just had some other photographers come through here. There's a couple of cows in the background. There's another cow over here. There's big cows walking around this forest, which if you look at what the surface is, it's not the easiest thing to walk on, so they're doing a pretty good job. I'm still looking for these little millstones. These guys are going for a bit of a wander up the back here. I don't know if that means anything or not. But yeah, there's a little brook over here as well, which is lovely. But what a beautiful spot. Padley Gorge, like I said, it's just out of Sheffield, probably about 20 minutes, half an hour out of Sheffield. But again, just looking at what we got here, it's a pretty nice spot. We've got this little bit of fog. Sun's going to pop up here soon and start to really kick in, but at the moment, it's perfect conditions. Right, still just wandering around trying to find these millstones. I'm sure I'm not looking in the right places, but I'm a bit shy to ask any locals because I don't know if they're sort of meant to be a bit secret or not. I think most people here are just sort of shooting the forest itself, but what I did find is it's very cool. Got a few of these I've seen around the place. They're called a coin tree. So what they are is just a tree that's had all pennies and coins smashed into it. So it's pretty cool. Maybe not photo worthy, but definitely put on the YouTube channel worthy. But it's just a gnarly looking tree to start with. It's pretty cool. So yeah, we'll keep looking for these millstones. So there we go. Got a nice bit of a walk to do, so you can walk both sides of this brook, which is what I'm intending to do this morning. I don't know how long these conditions are going to last. It's meant to be a nice day, but typically fog burns off once that sun comes up. So I'll keep on moving and see what we can find. But once that sun does come up, it might sort of create a bit more fog and mood in here as well. Might get some nice starbursts coming through the little forest here, so we'll keep an eye for that. But we'll keep moving. Let's see if we can find these millstones. So I've been walking another 10 minutes or so past a local who did say there was some down here. They're a bit coy on the old millstones, but I have found this cool old retaining wall here, which looks pretty cool. Runs all the way up there for a while. So if I kind of find something, I reckon it's going to be around here where there's been a little bit of excavation done by the old timers. But yeah, beautiful spot. Just don't know what's around. That's one of those local knowledge things. But either way, it's beautiful. Having a really nice time walking through here. And I left my phone in the car, so I've got no maps, which is a pretty silly thing to do, but it's a pretty well-worn track and there's plenty of people around. But it's nice not to have a phone with you for a while. Getting a bit warm though, got too many layers on. This is certainly not as cold as Tassie in parts. So yeah, but beautiful spot. Just taking a few snaps along the way. When I find another good snap, I'll set up and I'll show you guys how we do that as well. This is looking pretty nice out here behind us here. Up on that hill I can see a little bit of fog up here and things like that, so it's looking nice up there. There's a bit of a track up there. It might be worth having a bit of a wander up there, I think. This might be one of Robin Hood's hideouts. who knows? This definitely is a track, goes up to a higher section. So look at that, just beautiful through here. Stunning. Yeah, we'll keep wandering up here, a bit of a climb. I'm just sort of trying to follow the fog a bit, see what I can find. Ooh. Let's see what's that wall runs all the way through the forest, which is very cool. Got the puffs going on there. There's an old fence up here. Looks pretty cool. Certainly get my steps up on this trip. Up there. Alright. Time to have a look around here and see what we can find. Then alright, the beanie's off. We're doing a bit of walking, it's getting a bit warm. But I thought I found one, and from this angle it sort of looked like it was, and I was getting a little bit excited. An old millstone, but it's not. It's just a dirty big rock. This is the thing around here, you've got rocks and everything like that. The millstones are this type of rock, covered in moss. So it's like a bit of a treasure hunt. But I guess that's all part of the fun. The light's still holding off, right? The fog seems to have disappeared a little bit, but getting some really soft glow through here. You can see the light starting to catch the back there. So we'll keep looking, keep seeing if we can find these. At least one, be nice. We'll see if we can get a photo for you. I haven't done this for a while. We've been hunting for things in a forest, but we'll keep looking, see how we go. Yeah. This is not what I'm looking for, but it's still pretty cool. Like an old kiln or something, maybe. But still looking for these millstones. They must be around somewhere. I don't know how many there are, but I've seen plenty of photos of them. But either way, we're having a lovely walk, taking you with me. Got some squirrels running around the trees here, and the birds are... Not sure if you can hear them. There's chirping along. Beautiful forest. I'm tempted to maybe come back here again tomorrow. I'm in this area for a couple of days. And there is fog expected tomorrow as well. But yeah, we'll see how we go. This is very cool, this thing here. Don't know what it is. It's a kiln of some sort, I think. But yeah, we'll keep on moving down this little valley and see what we can find, and we might set up another photo soon and take you guys there. And so that's a bit disappointing. I've made it down to the bottom of the track. Haven't seen a stone sit. So where they might be or what they're doing. They've got it down the bottom of this little track. So yeah. But now, walk back up the track, retrace my steps, see what happens. I think that's my only option. My car is back up that way, so it might be just a matter of just retracing my steps, see what goes on. The joys of. So the search continues, but I think maybe found one. Let me have a look. Well, maybe, or maybe not. Let's turn you around, have a look. Nope. Alright, so as you can just see with that last bit of footage, I think I found one. It's pretty cool. It's a nice guy taking photos right next to it. So I didn't want to disturb him with commentary, but he said there's a few. It's a show what I'm going through at the moment. He said there was a few around, but quite scattered and hard to find at times. Cool. Certainly work over sweat today. It's good. It's good exercise. Good for the brain. So yeah, maybe got one or two. Just making my way back up to the car now. I'm trying to try and find a nice one that I can set up and show you guys what I'm doing. But for now, just going to continue on up this beautiful path. The fog's all gone. There's a bit of fog still at the back there, but yeah, most of the fog's gone, so the best conditions are probably behind us. So now it's just a mission just to find these millstones, and then can come back tomorrow maybe and get a better shot of him. It's a bit of a scouting / taking shots event, which is good. There's squirrels everywhere. As I said, there's lots of squirrels, which are cool. But yeah, it's a beautiful spot, as I've said 1,000 times. Definitely one to revisit again. But there's just little pathways everywhere. You just got to check them out. There's a little breach down there, which goes across the river there. So yeah, it's just a matter of keeping your eyes out for a round rock. They're about, as you can see, they're about a metre and a half wide. But yeah, they're just some will be under moss, some will be not mossy. So yeah, it's just a matter of keeping your eyes open. But I think I got some good shots this morning. Like I said, I've got a couple more shots left in me for you guys, I reckon, and then we'll pack it up and head home. So one of the big things a lot of people ask about forest photography is, you know, how do you get that composition? How do you sort of separate these trees in a dense forest? It's not an easy task. What I try and do is I just try and find trees that are standing alone a bit more. I like to use leading lines such as the root formations, or for example with this one here, you know, having the rocks down the foreground. You know, this one could be a vertical, getting the whole tree in, or it could be just a shot of the base, you know, sort of that kind of composition, with the mossy bits and the gnarly tree and the gnarly roots growing through the rocks. You know, that can make some really interesting foreground interest as well. So you don't have to be a great photographer to get good shots here in forests. You just got to sort of separate the trees a bit. Try not to get too bogged down in getting that classic forest shot. Sometimes if you can find a nice tree on its own with some nice foreground interest, like whether or not it's some roots or whether or not it's a bit of rock or mossy bit that they've got here, you know, use that to your advantage. Use that wide angle lens. I usually encourage people to point that wide angle lens down a little bit, just so you can get a bit more into your shot, as well as shooting vertical, especially with trees, because trees are vertical. You know, shooting with a bit of height does help as well. Something else that works really well is if you've got vanishing points like this path that leads up into the middle of nowhere. You know, if we had a bit more atmosphere, a bit more mood here, this would be a great little shot with that path sort of teaching us, or telling our eyes to sort of follow that track along to the end of the frame. Sort of takes your viewer through the frame. So yeah, a lot of people sort of ask, okay, what's the secret to forest photography? You know, sometimes it can be just foreground interest, leading lines. You know, sometimes it can be just a gnarly sort of tree, like there's shots everywhere here. You know, this gnarly tree with the branch out there is really cool. That could be a nice shot. Looking for things with character, looking for things with a bit of backlight going on there as well. Backlighting sort of helps create a bit of depth, things like that. So just keep your eyes out for really gnarly trees, interesting foregrounds, and things like that. And you know, you'll start to see the forest through the trees once you take a few shots. You'll notice, you know, try not to clutter up the background, try and get some depth and distance behind your trees as well. Should be good. I can see the road down there, but I can hear people down the bottom here. Whether or not there's a little waterfall or something more interesting down there, so I might have to take a look. Another big thing about forest photography as well is conditions. Same with waterfall photography as well. You very rarely see me in a forest after about 9 AM. You know, where it's hot, sun gets too harsh, the shadows become too much, it gets too contrasty. Same with waterfalls. You want to be at waterfalls on wet and moody days, foggy days, things like that, when the conditions are really perfect for what you're trying to shoot. So if you've got a nice little forest area near you and you've got a bit of rain or fog or mist coming, get out there. That's the best time when these rainforests and forests come alive. Everything looks vibrant, streams all running, you know, you got moody, misty atmosphere with amongst the trees. Creates a bit of a haunting effect as well, like it did this morning. So yeah, pick your eye conditions. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time, really. So if you've got a nice forest that you're really keen on, put a date down, look at the weather, try and get there when the weather's conducive to forest photography, and yeah, you'll see that your photos will just improve tenfold purely just on the conditions only. All right, so got myself another shot here. Look at me squinting it up. I just had a couple walk past. I said, geez, it's cold. It's not cold. It's beautiful. It's I reckon it's about 8 or 9 degrees. It was about 4 degrees when I got here. It's really nice. But anyway, got myself another shot which I really like the look of, which is this little tree here. I'll turn this round. This beautiful little tree here. It's got some beautiful rocks and patterns and leaves all in the front here, which I'm using. I don't want the whole tree, even though the whole tree is pretty gnarly. We've got some beautiful colour out the back here. I don't want the whole thing, but what I'm doing, again, this is sort of my composition. If I can sort of show you there, it's a bit tricky. There we go, so like that. But I really like these big rocks in my foreground. I've got my polarizer on as well. Polarizer helps take these little shine or reflections off these rocks here, which is taking it off. So my shot's going to be something similar to sort of this sort of frame here, minus my camera. Again, I'm sort of shooting a little bit different on this one. I was usually shooting f11, but I'm actually going to bring this down to about f8. Got to focus on around about the bottom of the trunk there, because what I want to do is actually sort of lose a bit of depth through here with my focus. So just take a nice little shot of that one. As you can see, the shutter speed's getting rock faster as well, because the light's getting brighter. So we'll do one more of this one, and then we'll move on to the next one. Look up. I'm happy with that. It's looking good. I'll show you on the screen what it looks like. See you soon. Alright, found myself another shot here. I a tad off the path. Everyone seems to be wandering up the hills here. Got a couple of guys up the top there. Thinking of following them because they might know where things are, but that might be a bit weird. But I'm just off the track a bit. But I found this really gnarly tree here, which I really like the look of. It's got some nice sort of colour out to the side here with the sun coming in here. So I'm doing this one as a vertical, just so I can get a bit of the leaf foliage in the front there. It's looking pretty good. It's got this really gnarly trunk on it. Got a couple of nice little bends. So I'm working on that one. Again, I'm shooting about f8 on this. Again, I want to sort of get that background a bit more softer. Pretty much put all the focus on this thing here. So yeah, it's a beautiful old tree. And just with the leaf foliage in the foreground, it's really nice as well. So I'm going to give this one a go. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Another beautiful tree on this beautiful track. So I might have saved the best till last here. Just came up in this little spot. I haven't even sorted out composition yet, but got some beautiful light. A little bit of light fog in the background. There's a beautiful little autumn tree. So I've got this beautiful rock here. It's got some beautiful light on it. Little autumn tree at the back, a little bit of fog coming in from that side. So I'm going to set up a composition here that I think will work. And we'll get back to you, but it's sort of at the top end of this track again where the fog's just sort of hanging around. And it's looking really nice. So I'm sort of looking at a composition sort of like that, with this sort of bit of a tree coming in and this lead out here, that little bit over there. Maybe not as nice as I thought it was. Still looks nice. On my screen it looks pretty good. I got some interesting foreground bits going on there with the brambles as well. I'm going to shoot this one a bit higher, maybe at f11, just so I can get a little bit more sharpness on that tree at the back, focusing around about the front of the tree there. But yeah, we've got some beautiful light coming through. I'm going to explore this top section up here. It's got some gnarly old trees. But again, something like that works fairly well. Just hoping a little bit of colour in that tree comes out in my shot, which I can play around with a bit. But yeah, it's looking good from here. So this is a classic example of just how your camera can play a few tricks on you. So we're shooting and found this gnarly old tree again. There's gnarly old trees everywhere, but I've got it backlit by the sun. So the camera is automatically dumbing it down, or dulling it right down to make it quite black. So I can't actually see the detail of the front of this trunk. So in this situation, I've had to actually overexpose by stop. If I let the camera do it, it gets very dark and hard to see any detail. So I'm actually going to overexpose it by about a stop. Again, this is a really cool shot. I don't need much depth here, so I'm going to go back to f8 and shoot that. And maybe I might just come a little bit this way just to get some of that. There's a little gnarly tree just on the edge of the frame there that I want to get in. But this is a cool shot. So this with that backlit sun, it's looking pretty good. Looks really nice. So yeah, don't be afraid to overexpose a little bit in here, especially if you're shooting into the sun, because it'll darken out those foreground shadows a lot more than normal. So we're getting some really nice conditions here now that the sun's coming back. I was almost giving up on this, thinking it was time to start heading back, but it's pretty good in here, and the light's breaking through a bit of fog, so it's giving us a bit of that diffused light coming through here, which is really nice. That'll probably wrap it up for this little session. Didn't find too many millstones. I think I only found maybe one or two. Just spoke to a couple of other locals. They've given me another spot to maybe go check out. Beautiful spot if you're ever in the Sheffield, Yorkshire region. Come into this Padley Gorge. It's really lovely. Find the right conditions. I could have stayed in here all day. If the fog was around, this could have been a 2-hour episode, I reckon. But yeah, it's just stunning. So hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully you got something out of it. We'll resume normal broadcasting at some stage soon with Brendan and I. But till then, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.